fair enough. I'm like the Paul Slane of serious podcasts.
You good to go? Let's go.
Aye, cool. And we're live, mate. We're live, finally. Good. Man.
We good to go?
I guess so, penguin costume and Lego man. If you told me this would have been in Halloween, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? You on crack or something?
Oh, this is no Lego man, mate.
What is it?
I had an allergic reaction to a peanut before I came on.
No, that's it. Aye, that makes sense. Although you kind of look the same as you always look, to be honest, mate.
I know. Is it cool if I take it off? I don't think I could do this for an hour. Plus, I can go and double check to see if it is actually live. Let me see if it is live.
It's like it's just a bit delayed, you know what I mean? But no, it's great to finally be doing this with you, man. Like we've planned this out for quite a while.
No, thanks for having us on, mate. It's an exciting setup and it's impressive, and I'm glad and chuffed you would ask me on. You've been a friend for years, and that's why I'm only going to take £300 off you. So,
mate, I told you I'd get 10 grand sitting there waiting for you. Like this is like the whole package is there for you. The whole budget was. This is the whole budget. This is my first and last live podcast, mate. Like this is all booked out just for you.
No, but thanks for having us on, mate. I'm looking forward to having a conversation.
Aye, it's because we've spoken about loads of different things all the time, and when I remember actually talking to you about doing a podcast years ago, and I was like, no, because we kind of spitballed the idea, but I was like, I can't do it because I couldn't talk in a microphone. So the idea that we're doing it now, and a big kind of fancy setup here and sponsorships and all that, it's kind of surreal to me that this is even happening. To be honest, and it's like, there's like I said to you before, there's a bunch of things I've always wanted to ask you, like, without even wanting to do it in a podcast, just generally, because you're quite a extraordinary person. That's the way I'd put it.
Wow.
I don't think you see yourself like that, but you are, because like you're always pure, just thinking about somebody else, and the biggest heart of anybody I know, man.
Oh wow, thank you very much, mate.
But you got into, like, so you're a comedian, right? And I've always wondered, like, see, you obviously went through like a lot of problems with mental health and stuff, right? And for me, the idea of going up when I'm feeling depressed or anxious to do a comedy show is terrifying. Like, what was the drive for you to get into it, and what made you want to be a comedian in the first place?
Okay, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, what made you want to do a podcast? It seems pretty strange, doesn't it?
It is.
I mean, I'm 33 years old now. I started doing stand-up when I was 18. I think the reason has changed throughout the years, but it all comes down to just, I love having a laugh. I love trying to make people laugh, and see, when I make people laugh, it's probably the best feeling in the world. And I've always had a love of cinema and film and comedians, and when I was in primary school I was always a class clown and the kind of lovable black sheep of my family and stuff, so it just seemed natural that I would go into it. Plus I find it really therapeutic trying to write and stuff.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see myself doing anything else now. I'm just grateful that.
That's amazing, mate. And you have done a lot of things, like being a Scot Squad and all these different things. But Bobby's became kind of a sensation a little bit. What's that been like for you? Like having to deal with the idea of having this character. Do people just walk past you and go, "Hey, Bobby"? Is it like a common thing now? Is that weird to get used to, that kind of thing?
Maybe not as much now, because like I've got a skinhead, big ginger beard, and I'm not wearing my glasses. But when I wear my black glasses, I do get noticed quite a lot. Normally by my family and friends.
Aye.
And it's within a 1 mile radius of my house, but
you do look different, mate. But it's definitely, it works for you, man. I was like that. This guy's looking on point with this haircut. I like it.
I will. I mean, I do get noticed. But
Would you say you look like Scott Brown, having retired and got out of shape for a few years?
Aye. Like, I look like Scott Brown, but when he's 48. Aye, but I love getting spotted. It doesn't happen all the time. I would class myself as probably more Z-list than A-list.
Yeah.
But when I do get spotted, it is nice and it's lovely, and everybody's always got something nice to say, and I enjoy it, man.
Did you ever feel like, because I was reading, when I was researching you, kind of one of the things that was interesting was you said that you were struggling with comedy and you were just going to quit it and you weren't feeling good about it, and then Kevin Bridges got involved in it. Somehow, like, he was in some sort of way helps you, push you to say go and do this, and you've went and done it in the way out. What was that? Where did that come from? Like, how was that? Were you ever at a point where you thought, I can't do this, and what changed it?
I've been like that a lot of times throughout my life, because I think people look at Frankie Boyle and Kevin Bridges and Peter Kay, and they just think, you know, overnight sensations, when you're no overnight.
Aye.
I've been doing this for 15 years or something, and see the amount of jobs I've lost, relationships, because every Friday, Saturday is the only time you can really earn money. So you can wave goodbye to having a partner.
Aye.
But there's certain points when you just don't. You can go months and months without earning money. When you do start earning money, it's like £20-30 a gig. So it's not that much. So you need to constantly work, get your head down, get on with it. And I think you just need to take a risk. I've totally lost my train of thought, man. What the fuck was I talking about there?
Well, like, see, that's interesting because people don't really talk about the grind that it takes to be a comedian.
Yeah.
And you talked about, like, Frank, all these big names, right? But it's one of those professions where, like, when you say I'm a comedian, people go, oh, do you know Kevin Bridges? Do you know Frankie Boyle? And you go, like, there seems to be like this thing of you have to be, if you're not, you have to be like, you have to know all the big guys and all that, all the big stars. And it's like, people don't appreciate how passionate you are and different comedians are of actually doing this, and how much of a struggle it actually is. Yeah. Do you think that that's apparent when, like, the government's trying to tell you to go and get a different job and all that?
Well, right, that's a couple of questions. Aye. I just remembered what I was talking about. Kevin Bridges, I was struggling, right? And he said, look, you're a stand-up comedian, just go for it. And hearing it from someone like Kevin Bridges was just like a green light to go. I thought, why am I holding myself back? I know I'm a stand-up comedian, I'm going to go for it. And recent events with the government saying that you maybe have to retrain. I mean, everybody in the arts, every single actor, stage person, comedian I know doesn't do this full time. It just doesn't happen in Scotland. There's maybe a handful of people I know that get a full-time income from acting and stand-up. Yeah. So I've always worked in other jobs. I've worked in other jobs my whole life. Stand-up comedy is my main source of income, but I can still earn money. I'll just go and be a labourer or whatever. I'll find something for the time being. I've got no hassle with that. I just found it quite disrespectful when the government were like, you just need to accept it and retrain. Well, it's not like that when they're taking tax off you. Yeah. So, no, exactly. But it is what it is, mate. Everybody's in the same position. We're all fucked. Sorry, can I swear? Yeah, totally. No, obviously there's no restrictions. No. I don't want your granda to be like, Bobby. What's happened to Bobby? Bobby's got a skinhead and he's effing and blinding. And his dress is some Halloween thing. I don't even. Aye, we need hair. Gonna help me? I need money. He's like, why are you sitting in doing a podcast with a junkie? No, honestly, it's interesting what you said on both fronts, because it's great to hear how Kevin was like pushed you like that, like, because obviously, like you say, he's at the top and he's helped you out like that, because it's like you've made it, man. You've made it in the sense of like you're making a living off it. That's making it, you know what I mean?
and being on BBC and being at these shows, but then to go through all that and have the government tell you go and do something else.
Yeah.
The thing that really got me with it is that the arts and comedy and things like that, it's a skill, and all these things are why people are miserable, because we're more encouraged to go to fit in a box, sit behind an office and just do things that we don't like. Like most of the people I know just do jobs that they feel miserable in.
Yeah.
Because it's there's plenty of jobs to do it and you can get into one and that's fine. We need to encourage people to be more creative and more artistic. That's what that's how we make any sort of progress for anything. And like to say to somebody like you that's worked his whole life for it, go and sit behind a desk now, it's just like you say, it's disrespectful and I don't feel like they've handled that particularly. But then at the same time, every time I go to criticise the government about this, I always think, what else? Like, as in, like, we've never dealt with anything like this before, so they just seem like they don't know what they're doing. We look to them as if they should know what they're doing, but how would they know?
Yeah, and that's why, look, I've not got a problem sitting behind a desk. I'll happily sit behind a desk.
Aye.
I think I've handled this pretty well, to be honest, regarding the circumstances. At the start of lockdown, I thought, I've got two paths here. I can go down the path that I would normally go down and become fat and depressed, or am I just going to accept what's happening here, take it a day at a time and try to remain positive? I know that stand-up will come back, I know acting will come back, and see, really, we're in a national pandemic. We need to push that to the side for the time being, because people are getting sick and people are dying. They don't want to hear me go up and talk about ecchi jokes, you know what I mean, on a Wednesday night. So I'll take the hit, but we'll get there anyway. How have you handled the sitting dressed up as a penguin and that? But apart from that, have you handled it all right? It feels like it's been a lifetime, to be honest, just because I've changed so much. Like, see, the me before lockdown would be far too. The idea of being live, dressed as a penguin, talking on a podcast about, it's like, see, even have the confidence to sit here live, knowing people are watching me dressed as a penguin. Yeah.
That was so far, like that was so far gone. That was a different person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of but it's very like what you said about comedy though. Like when you said that you just knew this is what you wanted to do, and you the reason why was because you enjoyed the feeling of making people laugh and making them feel good and stuff. It's very. I like that with me in the sense of I'm able to do this because I enjoy helping people through things and having an honest conversation about real life, but also giving them some sort of comfort that way. And when people message me about it, that's what makes me able to go. I'm going to go and put a penguin costume on and do a live stream, and that because they'll get something from that. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's all about, and that's why I'm able to see past all those things. And so for me, it's been a really kind of surreal thing.
Good.
But maybe I was just thinking about comedy then. I was thinking about how Joe Rogan and all that all talk about like the comedy store and the American comedy scene. But what's it like in a Scottish comedy club? Like you must have had to go through all sorts of like different wee crackdowns to the comedy, man. Like what was it like starting out? And did you have any times where you just went up and it was like a pure disaster? Because I would always find that I would have struggled to deal with that. Like sort of like, oh, that was terrible, man. Come out of it and like, what's that like?
It definitely thickens your skin. I'm just going to check that, mate, because I'm paranoid. 2 seconds. Right, okay.
Aye, it's just a bit. It's a wee bit delayed, but aye.
Right.
But,
so I mean, obviously the best one is the Stand Comedy Club in Glasgow.
Yeah.
So that's your Champions League.
Aye.
But to get to the Champions League, you need to do all these other gigs, and people are not prepared to do those other gigs. I mean, I can look back in it now and laugh, but I've had some disasters, mate. I've had pints chucked at me, people trying to fight with me, people telling me I'm shite. It's totally thickened my skin. It's built my confidence. It's made me the person I am today. Because I was just like a wee shy loner. I mean, I had pals and stuff, but no drama experience, no experience in being on a stage. When I was in school, I remember I went for a part in a play called Boy Number 3, and a girl got it. So that's my experience like drama and acting. But oh mate, you're going up to Inverness on a Wednesday night, or you're going to these crazy pubs with no windies and people are taking drugs off the table and stuff, and you're up there doing 5 minutes. So they call it in stand-up comedy, see, when you have a bad gig, they say you die on your arse. That's the term. And it's the most horrific thing you'll ever experience in your life. Like, see, sometimes when it happens to you, you forget your name. Like, that's how bad it is. I've been on stage thinking, what's my name? Where am I? What club am I in again? I don't know where am I. Should I just go back to college? I hate my life. But see, when it goes well, it's worth it, mate. It's so worth it.
And do you think like you need to go through the dying on your arse bit to do the bit that does well?
Aye, it's like anything else. If you want to be a good boxer, you need to train.
Yeah.
I say that as I've had 2 cakes and Greggs before I came here. So, geez, but people think Kevin Bridges did 10,000 gigs before he was on live at the Apollo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're literally sacrificing your life. So
to hope to get that kind of...
Yeah. I mean, I did 100 gigs before I get paid. That was my first paid gig, was a £5.
Really?
Do you know what I mean?
Aye. So is that what... Would it have been worth it to you if you hadn't have done that? If you hadn't kind of got through making money full time from it and stuff? Like, did it feel worth it as you were doing it, or did you just feel like you were working towards something better? Like
yeah, I mean, all that stuff's it feels, people are like, they talk about being famous and stuff, and or BBC Scotland and being on the TV. You don't think about that. None of that's in your mind. You just want to be funny.
Yeah.
And see, having the chance. I mean, because I had a million ideas in my head before I did stand up, and then somebody told me in college, you know, you're funny, you should do stand up comedy. And when I was 18 years old, I didn't know what stand up comedy was, apart from Eddie Murphy and Billy Connolly. He said, why don't you go to the open mic night at the Stand Comedy Club? I never heard of the Stand Comedy Club in my life. But he said, all you need to do is write 5 minutes, go up and do 5 minutes, and a wee light bulb went off in my head. I can actually write down a 5-minute set list and go up to a crowd and talk into a mic, and something in me just thought, I want this so bad.
Yeah.
Am I boring you? You look like you fucking blacked out there.
No.
Try no fall asleep during that, mate.
No, I just thought I'd seen something that caught my eye.
No.
I like that, like having to, what you had to actually do, like experiencing, realising that's like your thing you're going to do. And I was talking about it, you were talking about like being in the BBC and all these things, but I feel like I know like the other side of you, right? And Stephen, I know you've had to deal with a lot of things, but what the reason why I know that isn't because of anything you would have said, but it's more so that there was a point, and this is something that I wanted to, I know we're dressed up and it's Halloween and that, right? But this is something I wanted to take you on the podcast because it's important that you know. Like, see, there was points when I was really not doing well, you know, and you always just came up and hugged me, like it was like, and you went and took me to we went in the Vita one time, a couple of times, and
yeah,
just, and I think I wasn't really letting anyone know, but I felt as if you could tell, you know what I mean, like, and so, but to me, somebody that can tell something like that, that's struggling like that needs help, because all it would be is I'd be sitting doing nothing, being depressed and thinking about all these terrible things, and you'd be like, you want to go get a coffee or something, you know, and it made a lot of a difference. But what I've noticed, and I noticed this myself now, is that you only really pick up on that is if you've been through something just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
And like, as you were going through all these things, like, what kind of things were you dealing with mentally in terms of addiction and things like that? Because I know you've kind of came through all that now, and it might be hard to talk about, but what was your kind of experience with that whole thing? Side of things, like mentally?
It's a bit deep in it.
Aye, because it's deep because like see like you're now a vegan, right?
Yeah.
But see like a few years ago, if somebody told me Darren Connell was going to be a vegan, I'd have been like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Plus, see when you're asking me about like drug addiction and stuff, and you're dressed up as a penguin, I'm like, is my water being spiked? Like,
no.
Am I tripping right now?
No, you are tripping right now. This isn't real. Right? No, I just mean like, cause I see you, right. I know you're now like totally sober.
Yeah.
And alcohol was something that I really struggled with.
Yeah.
And you kind of made me aware. Like it was almost like seeing you and watching how much you've improved and your life has got better. You just as a person, but just more you. Do you know what I mean? By being sober and these things, it made me realise that I had a problem with it. But I've always wondered, like, how did he actually quit that? Because it's a hard thing to quit, especially if you're going about doing gigs and all that all the time. It must be hard to not go on the drink and not go on the drugs and stuff. Like,
well, I think with stand-up comedy, it was a kind of a double-ended sword with that, because I never really drank before it. Or I did maybe when I was younger. I think I had my first drink when I was 16, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was just typical wee guy having a Smirnoff Ice in the park. It was nothing to like worry about. But when I started doing stand-up comedy and started doing well, and then in my head I thought, oh, a wee bit of Dutch courage, or things like never had a girlfriend ever in my life. Then you start doing stand-up and you get this confidence, and then you get confidence to talk to girls at gigs, and then you think you need to drink, and it just, or you think, I'm just going to check just to see if we're live, alright. So you think, oh, I had a good gig, I'll have a couple of pints, or I had a bad gig, couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Bridges wants to talk to me, I'll have a pint.
Yeah.
But then you're just having a pint, any opportunity you're having a pint. So towards the end I realised I was having, because I was quite heavy back in the day as well, I could honestly have 10 pints and be alright.
Yeah.
I'd be drunk, but I'd hold it well. And then I started to lie to myself. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I would have 10 pints a night. And then Friday would come and I'd think, oh, I just had a couple of pints during the week. Friday, Saturday, I can drink whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I just became in that loop of lying to myself. But I actually, see, when you're ready to stop doing anything that's bad for you, you just know. It wasn't planned. I never intended it. I did an ICW show for like Mark Dallas and stuff. Yeah. I was about 19 and a half stone at the time. Mm-hmm. I did a thing with Lionheart, the wrestler. He put me over the barriers and I was a dead weight. I broke my ribs and stuff. And, you know, I was drunk as well when I did it. So I was in front of maybe 3,000 people at the time. And I was drunk, can't really remember it. I woke up the next day, never realised I broke my ribs until the next day. And I was just ashamed of myself. Like, I was still being able to perform and be funny, but see, when you're drunk, you just lose that wee bit. Yeah. But I remember, and he won't mind me bringing this out, but I went out one night, get absolutely paralytic, steaming drunk, and woke up the next day, and I thought, I can't believe this has happened again. I lay in my bed for a week because I was sick. And then I went out with Robert Florence for Burniston. Oh, yeah. He won't mind me saying this. And he was like, why don't you just drink what I drink? Like, I'm just going to have a glass of wine and a gin. So I had like one white wine, a gin, and I think I had 2 or 3 beers. And see, my last pint, I just put it down and I was like, I'm done. Like, something in my soul just done that enough. I've got family members that are the same as well. Like, I don't know if I'm an alcoholic. I don't know if I class myself as an alcoholic. But I know that when I put alcohol into my body, it poisons me. It poisons my mental health. It poisons my soul. it can change me into a happy-go-lucky person to being suicidal. And see, it took me 15 years to realise that. And since I've ditched it and just started to be more positive, I've lived a better life through it. So I don't really look at drink as it's drink. I look at drink as if it's self-harming.
Yeah.
And I don't have a reason to self-harm because I love my life and I love everybody in it. I don't look at drink. I've never enjoyed it. I've always been one of the people that have thought, oh, you know what, I'll just do it. But I've always been the big funny guy. Everybody's always laughing at me. But towards the end, people weren't laughing. You just get stuck in a taxi and told to get up the road. But in December, that will be me 5 years.
That's amazing, mate. It's honestly, it's so amazing because a lot of people, when they get as low as you've got and the way you talk about it there, to come back from that and to be where you are now, you're best I've ever seen you, mate, honestly.
Oh, thank you, mate.
And it's great to see it. That's what the podcast is all about, and that's what the kind of energy you want to put out there. But it's like, because my brother, right, Michael, you and Michael are like, Michael is how I know you, really.
Yeah.
You two, you were really close, and Michael, you know, he would come and tell me these mad stories like that. We were out dancing last night and he did this and that. And then I met you and I was like, that's not the guy you were talking about. Like, you just, like, I met this other version of you that wasn't the version that he's talking about. But I'm very glad that you've overcame that and done all this. But a lot of people end up going the other way. And it's like, you've done all that. And he would say these things to me about how, like, it's amazing how you've done all this. And what I've always wanted to ask you though, like, what is Darren Connell steaming out on a night out with my brother like? Because Michael, Michael is quite the crazy drunk, I would say.
Well, for anybody that doesn't know, Kieran's big brother Michael is one of my best mates from childhood.
Yeah.
A childhood best friend. We went to primary school together. We've been pals through high school, and we're still mates to this day. But me, drunk on a night out is just... I was never a bad person.
Aye.
I was never bad. I was never cruel. I never meant anything bad. It was always having a laugh. Basically, I drank until I dropped.
Yeah.
Every single time I drank. Like, paralytic drunk.
Like wheelchair drunk. Like,
What?
like wheelchair drunk.
Aye.
You could have done with a backache for me a couple of times. I was just a bit too young at this time. But if we... Tell you what...
When you said wheelchair drunk there, I was like, alright. I don't know what to say.
I know most of the time people with a laugh could become awkward and just move on for it.
Aye. It's just because we're in a Facebook Live video. If we weren't live, I'd be like, fuck. No, but I mean, I was never like, if I was at a house party, I'd always be the person jumping out a window, like,
Yeah.
or if somebody says, eat that thing that's in the fridge that's 4 months out of date, I'd be like, aye, no bother. But see, when you've done that for 15 years, and then towards the end it was making me feel suicidal and depressed, and I realised it just wasn't making me happy. There's no shame in saying you can't drink.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no shame in it at all, whatsoever.
Yeah.
You save money, you feel better, it's better for your skin.
Yeah. It's honestly so similar to how if we had met, if time had been different and you'd met me at the height of my problems and I met you at the height of your problems, we probably would have been looking in a mirror.
Because I think that's how you start. I mean, I've known you since you've been a baby.
Yeah.
But you started messaging me because I got sober and you were asking me questions about it.
Yeah.
And then that's why I was like, let's get a pizza. But I used to always see you in the sauna and the steam room all the time.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, we've got some stories about the sauna and the steam room. You want to tell them that time? You know what I'm going to tell them?
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
Right. Bishop, I always go to Bishop Briggs Leisuredome for a sauna and a steam room. And one night I went and Kieran's in the steam room. And he's left, he can't go in with his wheelchair, so he leaves his wheelchair out in the sitting area. And he goes in and he sits in the marble seats. Now I go in and it's like roasting hot. he looks fucking dehydrated. I'm like, you alright, mate? And he's like, aye, I just need water. Like, when I was touching him, I was like, you're roasting. So, a couple of things happened. I don't even know what happened, but next thing I know, he falls head first off the seat. Head first on the tiles, right? And it was such a horrible noise, I thought, fuck, has he died in this steam room? Like, because he was dead weight as well, and he wasn't moving. And then I'm not like, I was a lot bigger at the time as well, so I've got tits, my tits are hanging out, I've got a tit in his face trying to pull him up. And this, I swear to God, a guy walks in, right, and he's like, "Geez, want a horn?" The guy had a metal leg. So he had, what do you call it? It was like, you
bionic?
Like a bionic metal leg. And I just thought, what a fucking weird trip this is. Like, this guy with a bionic leg that I've never met before in my life is trying to help me pick you up.
It's like I seen it in a movie or something.
Oh, it was amazing. Man.
I just remember you telling me you thought I died, and I was like, "What? You thought I was dead?" Because I was just going in there. Honestly, because what I would do, right, is I would get really hungover, and I would just go to the steam room and just sit there for ages, just try to sweat it out. Because I had the same effect on me as it had on you, in the sense of being like, you would go from feeling good one minute to just feeling like. So you're talking about how I was messaging you, and that's how we first kind of started speaking, and it's because like I couldn't imagine you're talking about being like the sort of class clown, so to speak. My whole thing, like when I was in school and stuff, was I just wanted to be, like I've said before, I just wanted to be one of the troops, and being in the wheelchair and stuff, the way the school was set up, it wasn't, because people have asked me this, I wasn't bullied in high school.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing it bad to me. They were all good people. It was the school system and how they were, the teachers and the assistants and all that were terrified of me being in some sort of accident or something. Like they were. Yeah. I would go to lunch and I'd have lunch at the table with one of the assistant teachers, and nobody wants to go and talk to the guy that's sitting having lunch with the teacher. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was a difficult thing. So whenever I get a chance to get to a party or be invited somewhere, it was always like, game on. I'm going to be as outrageous as I can be. Yeah. So it was just about being, I would get there and I would already be gone, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so when I couldn't imagine my social life or any life without alcohol or drugs. Yeah. So when I seen you had been able to do that, I thought, but he's known, that's what Darren's known for. He's known for being that guy. So it must, like, the reason why I messaged you is I'm thinking, how did he change his whole social life and how did he get used to being the guy that everyone's watching every night out to being the guy that's not really going in as many nights out and stuff like that, changing his whole social group? What's that, like, what was that process like for you? Because I've always wondered, like, for me, you helped me realise it was possible, and I didn't change my social group then because I felt as if it wasn't anything to do with any of them, and more so to do with the fact that I couldn't deal with what I was doing. They were bringing out this need for me to want to be something that I wasn't. So I had to kind of step back from it, and you helped me see that was possible. So how did you do it? You know, how did you take yourself out of it?
I think, like, it's just what I said before. Like, see when you feel like you've crashed. Because I crashed. Yeah. Like, I'll say the car crashed and I was in it, and like before, it was always, I don't want to drink. For years, I'm going to stop tomorrow. Please God, can you take away this hangover? See when you just know that you're done. Yeah. You're completely done. So, but I've always tried that. I've always went like a couple of weeks with not drinking and stuff, and maybe a month or two. I actually went 6 months not drinking once, but I never get help. I never get mental health help or anything like that, so that was hell. But I remember going out with my two mates one night. I won't name them. It wasn't Michael, and one of them was like, you're always going on these mad diets and you're always no drinking, just have a pint. And I was proper rock bottom, and I could have fought with him that night. And I just thought, do you know, I'm surrounded with people that are always take a drink, like the Chewing the Fat sketch.
Aye.
And I thought, it's really affecting my mental health. So I just went to my social media and I started to keep myself accountable. And I also swallowed my pride and thought, I don't care what anybody thinks about me here, because I actually need help. So I posted something along the lines of, I've made a big decision in my life today. After 15 years of drinking, that's me chucking it. Please, if you're a true friend, don't ask me to drink. If you're not a true friend and you keep asking me, you're not going to be in my life anymore. Can comedy promoters, bar staff in comedy clubs, please don't sell me drink, because I was becoming that guy at the end of a gig. Like I says, I was never bad-natured, I was never a bad person, but when I walked into a pub and the bar staff seen me, I knew that they were thinking, oh, he's going to be a pain in the arse tonight. Not in a bad way, but I'd be there to shut in time. If there was any free drinks going, I'd tan them, I'd drink other people's drinks. And I just thought, please help me. I'm asking for help.
Yeah.
And do you know what? See, as soon as I put that out in the world, nobody gave me any grief. And it's like anything else, mate. It's a journey. See, for the first 6 months, 7 months, people are like, oh, you still have a drink? You still have a drink? See now, nearly 5 years later, nobody even asks me. See, when I go into a pub or something, unless somebody doesn't know, I just drink pints of soda water. But it's just a part of my life now. I would never ever, I can't even think what life would be like with booze, and everybody's cool, Michael and stuff, they all understand, they completely understand.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably the best thing I've ever done. Are you still off drink?
Yes, I'm off drink, and I probably am about that stage of what you're just talking about, of like, people are like that, you still off the drink? You know, and I think for me, it's annoying, like, people are always like, when you're trying to go on dates and stuff, it's like, do you want to go get a drink? And you're like, I don't, but I want to chat you up, so maybe.
Aye.
do you know what I mean? But but see, to be honest, I kind of had the same thing as you, but it wasn't so much around alcohol. It's just more so like, in terms of alcohol, it was like I knew that like whatever it made me wasn't who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So it could have had a really bad, even just one sip of it, like.
Yeah.
It wasn't about getting steaming in it. It was just like, for me, it was. I'm very much the same. It was like all or nothing. You were either stone cold sober or you were steaming drunk.
Yeah.
And I just actually remember there's a couple of things, but there was one night, like where I think I just remember feeling just not, like you say, rock bottom, and just not really sure where to go. But even when I got to rock bottom, every time I kept saying to myself, "This is rock bottom," but then there would be a further one.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still like, I felt like I was a functional alcoholic, because I was trying, like, I don't know if calling myself an alcoholic is an extreme way of putting it, but I knew that that's where it was going.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that was where it was going. It's like, at what point am I going to change this and go? So I'm kind of at the stage you're at, where people can be like, I think it's been about 6 months now, because I was 6 months. I've went the whole year almost without drinking anything, but I'm not going to count it, because there was one time during lockdown where I tanned a bit of Mad Dog.
Right. Okay.
But I wasn't drunk then. But I was like, oh, I'm back to the first day.
No.
So that's been about since like July or something. And
mate, that's amazing. Definitely don't be too harsh on yourself.
I
think with the all or nothing attitude, that's what can make us fail. So that wee sip of Mad Dog would normally put someone on a month binge, but it is what it is, mate. You're on the right track. You're feeling better. That's what it's all about.
It's like you say though. You feel like you're more. You just feel like you're more yourself.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to ask you that, because when you were talking about how you kind of the process of having to change your social group and then putting that on social media and how it changed it all, that's one of the most difficult things for people to do.
Yeah.
because for me it was like the hardest thing was, see, like all the things when you're this is pretty deep, right, and like, but I don't mean to be too deep, but like when you're trying to deal with all these things, I found that I put a lot of how I actually felt about myself, like I put it at the back and pretended it wasn't real, like that wasn't, you know what I mean, like it was just like all these things that I felt about myself that I had to deal with, I was kind of putting away at the side and pretending that it wasn't happening, and then but so to deal with that you kind of have to feel all of that at once, and so I think that's where people, that's where like suicide and stuff comes into it, because you when you get to that point where you have to feel all these things that you've put in the back burner for your whole life. You know, even though I'm only 23, but it felt like it was longer than that, you know that way? Like, it was as if I was seeing myself outside of myself.
Yeah.
For the first time, and it was like a kind of realisation of not liking that, and then that, and I think when people realise that, when that night or the day or the week that you realise that it's a really hard week, and that's where people, I think, where the real struggle with suicide and depression and things come into it.
Yeah.
But for me, I was lucky because I've got have family and people and just realising that a lot of the things that made me depressed about being in a wheelchair or bait or having all these things I felt about it was actually once I flipped it, I realised that most of those things were good things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's actually more about how you think about it and realising that it's not an impossible thing, and you're a great example of that, you know what I mean? So I would probably still be the way I was if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Because you showed me it was possible, you know what I mean?
Oh, thank you very much, mate. That's very kind. And do you know, like, I can understand why you would get depressed and stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being in a wheelchair. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with being in a wheelchair. But, you know, when you're sitting trying to eat your dinner and there's an assistant with you, kind of, you know, there's no need for somebody to be there with you as you're eating your dinner, because you're no stupid. I've had that. I've had people in my life like that. Like, I can't remember. I think it was like somebody. I can't remember. I think it was a cousin that was in the army or something that got injured, and he's like, all of a sudden people just talk to you like you're stupid. And he's like, there's nothing. I just get injured when I was on duty. That's true, mate. Like, he's like, what the fuck are you? What you on about?
Aye.
Like, I can't understand the pressure that must.
It's. I think the most heartbreaking thing about it when you're looking at it negatively is you can't change it, and it's as if the world is saying to you need to.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I want to say to anybody like with disability that listen to this is that for me it was like this thing of realising that it's because everything you just said that is because the media and the world paint this picture of if you're not exactly the way we say you're supposed to be, then you know you're not complete. Like if you can't walk, you're not normal because everybody can walk. You're not normal, or this idea of normal. But the idea of normal is what I feel is like one of the big reasons why a lot of people are depressed.
Yeah,
is we're all trying to fit into this box that the media and the mainstream, what they all put out there about what you're supposed to look like. You know, like look at, you know, a lot of women are struggling with that as well, having to fit into this exact image of what, you know, what's like. Somebody showed me a picture of like what a kind of like a model, you know, like they showed me a picture of what like an oversized model or something, and she was like one of the skinniest people I've ever seen in my life, and I was like, what? That's not. You can't be doing that. That's not. We're putting it the wrong idea of what it is to be human. And it's like normal isn't a thing. You know what I mean? I'm going on a wee rant here, but like just as those kind of things as you say, kind of connect with what. These are things that I had to. What I'm trying to say is these are things I had to learn on my own, right? But I shouldn't have to learn on my own.
No.
This is why I'm doing this. Is that we need to normalise being different, because because we all are different, and it's why we need comedians. It's why we need nurses. It's why we need all these different things. Not everybody's going to be like Ronaldo, and not everybody's going to be Kim Kardashian. Do you know what I mean? It's like let's calm down with this and show that there are many layers to. It's not all black and white. It's not all going to be the same thing. And has knowing me sort of changed your idea of disability itself? Like, what would you think? What would you think of it if you hadn't met me? That's an interesting question.
Honestly, mate, like I've never looked at you as if you're disabled. Like you've always just been Kieran. Like I've never thought, oh, that's a guy in a wheelchair. Like you're my best mate's wee brother. That's what you were when I was younger. You're my best mate's wee brother. And then as you became an adult and we started hanging about, you became my mate. So I've never ever thought, oh, I mean, it's like, I mean, obviously it's not, like, see if you're walking down the street and you see somebody with a pair of crutches, you're obviously going to look because it's a pair of crutches.
Yeah.
It's just your eyesight going over there. Or if somebody's like get white hair or something, like it's impossible not to just glance.
It's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Aye, but it's not like I'm not judging anybody by looking at it.
You just want to know.
But maybe it's changed my view to it in a positive way because you've always been in my life, and then it's normalised it for me. But I've never thought anything, different. Plus, I've always been the type of person, like I always go, I don't know, like I really hate when I hear about people getting bullied or like disabled people getting bullied or not getting a right chance, so I always kind of go on the side of like to try and help people. But I've never, I mean, I think we joked about this before, like, have you won gold medals swimming?
I have,
Right, so if you put me in a swimming pool I would drown, but you can swim like a fucking dolphin, so...
You sent me a message.
Be careful what you say here before I get cancelled, by the way. It was...
And this is what this is all about. I'm cancelling you, mate. This is what's happening live. Darren Connell's getting cancelled in this podcast. No, mate, listen. You sent me a message one time after I won 3 gold medals at the Scottish Champions in that race, and somebody pulled out, and I was like, I could go in that race, and they were like, but you'll finish last.
Wow.
And I was like, no, I won't. So I ended up managing to win the 3 races, and then I came out, and you sent me a message saying you're like, cut angle with a broken fucking. He was like with a broken fucking neck, but I've got 2 legs that don't do the job. You know what I mean? And,
wow.
And when you sent me that, I was howling for about 10 minutes. Do you know what? See, when you sent me that, I'm going to be totally honest. Right? See, when you said that about compared me to cut angle. See, every time I go for a swim net, I listen to cut angle wrestling theme song on the way there, just because of that thing you said about that. So it's like, just because I can't walk and you can stand up doesn't mean that you can do more than me. Yeah. Which is why disability is kind of in itself. What does it even mean? Like I've made this point before, right? When my phone goes out of chat, like when my phone is not working, and it comes up saying your phone's been disabled, but you call me disabled, so does that mean that I can't work like a phone? Yeah. Like is the idea that being disabled means you can't work? Because if it is, it's something we need to change. Do you know what I mean? It's something that we need to change, and it's why like I think we in society get told to get put to the side, like. And all your time acting and doing comedy and doing all these things, how many people with disability we've seen audition for things and doing these, going for these things and doing comedy or doing, not many people are doing it because we're not encouraged to be creative.
The only thing that I've seen it in is stand-up comedy.
Really? It's funny considering the fact none of us can stand up.
No, but that's the beautiful thing about stand-up comedy. I've said this. Can I just double check to see if that's still recording, mate? I think I've got fucking OCD or something.
No, I get what you're saying.
Imagine how soul destroying that would be if it wasn't recording.
I don't know. The only reason why somebody else isn't in here doing it is because of the social distancing thing. I don't want to have 3 people.
That's cool.
In the room and all that. Usually I would have somebody there, but
no, that's cool. But see, before I was a stand-up comedian, I was raised in a Catholic school. Everybody was the same. Everybody was the same colour. I never met a gay person in my life. I don't think I ever met a black person in my life. And then I started doing stand-up comedy at 18 years old. And all of a sudden, I'm in a green room with like gay people, immigrants, disabled people, any person you can think of like it's just mixed, and it was such an amazing and beautiful experience because we're all there for the same reason, is to make each other laugh.
Yeah.
And it's what a buzz, and it's such a supportive community. Like some of my pals, I won't name them because that's another thing as well. You don't want that tag. It's like, oh, Kieran's my mate, he's disabled, or such and such is my mate, she's gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who gives a fuck if she's gay?
Because it's not about that. It's about, and you don't want to seem like that's what it's about, because it's not what it's about. So I understand that.
So, but like, you know, it's just such a supportive community, and there is all walks of life there, and we're all classed as comedians. That's that.
That, I mean, that, see, I think that's what's so kind of brilliant about comedy. It's such a, like, I think the reason why you see that is because everyone is so free to express themselves. Like, you know, like, that's why you kind of, I suppose, I don't know, I won't know much about it, but I suppose that's why you can't really teach it as much. It's just about who you are. And that's probably why people, you know, people of these different and minority groups enjoy it, because they're fully free to be express themselves and say what they want to say.
Yeah.
Which is why the whole idea of not allowing people to say outrageous things in comedy is becoming a bigger problem in it, really. Like,
yeah.
I mean, how much are you having to now like watch what you're saying and be sort of? Is that something that's coming into it more because of the way that we are with like the whole cancel culture and stuff?
Well, I try my best not to get too lost in that, because at the end of the day, I just want to make people laugh. I've always made myself the joke, so I think that's important. I don't really care about anybody else's style, really, but I'm the butt of the joke. I don't want to make you the joke. It's me. See, when you make yourself the joke, you can say anything on stage. Something doesn't sit right with me when I slag other people. The only time I slag other people is when I get heckled. If you heckle me at a gig, then it's fair game. I'm going to say anything because you heckled and you're disrupting the show. But I'll never be cruel. I mean, I'll say some outrageous stuff. Like from Darren, the comedian, for Bobby, is night and day. Bobby is like a lovable, childlike man who's innocent. He doesn't swear, and he just like wants affection and friendship. Darren, the comedian, talks about, you know, suicide attempts, depression, drugs, shit in my pants, anything really. So it's fair game. Like stand up, I try not to look into it too much. I just want to be funny, but
because it's just, I just don't like, because it's like you want people to. It's important that we don't, like, you know, people are not saying things that are putting people down and like that, and like, but I feel like comedians, you can't take what you say on stage as gospel. It's a part of an act as well. Like you're putting on a show. You're trying to get the laugh. So if you know, so it's you should come in there as part of an audience being like, this isn't what he says. If he says anything about it that offends me, it's not about me. It's not about, he's not talking to me and personally attacking me. It's just his performance. You know what I mean? Or you know, whoever's performance. It's like, that's like an ever-changing thing. But you talk. I was just thinking there. See like when you're talking about depression there. Right? Did you ever? What was it like? Did you ever go into depressions and stuff?
I really hope my mom's not watching this. I did go for a wee while. I went on them for a wee while. I can't remember what ones they were called, but I was on them for maybe a year and a half, and they served a purpose. They helped me for a short time, but I don't know if they also made me feel numb. So when I was doing stand up and I was dying in my arse, it never affected me. Whether if I did die in my arse before, it would hurt me, and I'd be like, I need to do better. But when I was full of antidepressants, I just didn't really care. I'm not saying don't take them. If you need help and your doctor tells you to take them, then take them. But that's why I've always tried to just be sober, change my diet, vegan, all that kind of stuff, and live a better life.
Yeah, and because it's like for me, for antidepressant, that's sort of similar, where I just felt like I was either unhappy or numb.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really the way you want to live life. You need to kind of learn to deal with. You need to make sure the downs aren't too down, and you know you keep yourself level keel kind of thing. But you spoke about going vegan there, right? And this is something I want to get into with because, like I said earlier, you are the last guy I would have thought, or Michael thought would become a vegan and no meat and all that.
Yeah.
And so you get off the booze and you're kind of going through your life and you're doing well with Scot Squad and comedy and all that. But what then made you go, I'm going to go vegan? Because it's such a huge change to your diet as well.
Well, when I chucked booze, I ballooned up. I went up to about 20 stone because I just stopped drinking and just started eating. And then I started justifying it. Oh, I don't drink anymore, so I'll have a takeaway. And then it turned into kebabs and everything every night of the week. But the thing that triggered it was I climbed over a fence to take a shortcut to go into my mum's street. And when I got to the top of the hill after climbing the fence, I honestly get this chest pain. It was like a shooting pain in my chest that I've never experienced before. And it gave me such a feeling of fear that I thought, am I going to die? And I was only, 31 at the time or something. So I went to my bed that night and it never really left me the whole night, this mild ache in my chest. I went to my bed and I was like, I might die in my sleep or something. And it was just such an embarrassing feeling. So I thought, I weighed myself as well in the gym and I was over 20 stone actually. I was like 20 stone 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And I felt my soul leave my body with shame because I knew I was heavy, but I never thought I was that heavy. And I just thought, how can I eliminate what is bad for me and do something that's good for me? And I heard a guy called Rich Roll, who is a vegan ultra runner, and he's also an alcoholic, recovered alcoholic, and he was about 50 pounds overweight, and he talks about how he gets sober, then he put on a lot of weight, then he became vegan. And there was just something about it that really appealed to me. I watched Earthlings with Joaquin Phoenix. He's the narrator in it. He's one of my favourite actors as well.
Joker movie was amazing, man.
Aye. So I watched that and it disturbed me. It was about factory farming and stuff. So not only did I see a reason to no eat animals, I also heard about the health benefits through the Rich Roll podcast. So I thought, do you know what? I'll start this off as it could be a joke, I could maybe get material from it, but I'll essentially just eat as much veg as I can and stop eating junk food and see where it takes me. And with just filling my head full of this vegan podcasts and reading vegan books and watching things like The Game Changers and stuff, but when I started eating this food, it just... Obviously, see, when you stop eating junk food, it's going to make you feel amazing, right? So I went from this horrible, depressed feeling of like instant euphoria. I noticed that I was like rapid weight loss as well. And see, in all honesty, it just tastes... there's no agenda with me. Like, I'm just a working class guy that... Yeah. Like, why would I lie about being a vegan? Like... The food.
You get paid. Paid off by the conspiracy theories.
I tell you what, though, I'll be honest with you, right? This is how selfish I am. See, if it didn't taste amazing, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The food is actually delicious, and it makes me feel good, and it took away those bad foods like kebabs and McDonald's. Because if you're going to say you're an alcoholic, I think I'm a food. Like, I get a drug high from eating junk food. So... Going vegan instantly eliminated all that. I'm probably still classed as overweight. I'm probably even classed as obese. But I tell you what, I'm a 34 in a waist. And I can run 10k.
Yeah.
And I can climb over a fence and not think my heart's going to explode.
It's amazing, man, because it's like, like I said before, you are. There's like a different feel from you, man. Your whole personality just feels like you're fully being yourself, and you've let go of these things.
Oh, thank you, mate. And you know what? It's a part of growing up as well. I'm still a young guy.
Yeah.
I'm 33, but you find your voice as you grow older. You realise, do you know what? Drinking drugs are no for me.
Mm-hmm.
Being in this environment's no for me. See, now, I love being a vegan. I do things like I used to go to the cinema all the time by myself, right?
Yeah.
See, if that was 10 years ago and somebody told me they went to the cinema by themselves, I'd think you're a psychopath or there's something wrong with you. I just do what makes me happy, and everybody should do the same thing.
Do you feel like you're not? You feel that you're more like sort of in tune with how you feel about things and that, because like people, I think, like what you just said there is people would say, oh, he's a weirdo because he goes to the cinema himself, but you're doing it because you like it and you don't care if anyone else, anyone else thinks about it. People find a big problem with that, and I'm like, well, maybe the only way to really figure out who you are is to sort of figure out things you like to do on your own. Because if you always need somebody there, you probably don't feel too great about yourself. And you know, if that is the case, like, did you ever feel like that, where you always felt like you had needed somebody there? Because I definitely felt like that.
When I always needed to be,
like, you always needed company. You always needed to have. That you could never handle being on your own and doing something on your own, because you just felt too, like it was as if there wasn't a distraction.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, it was always texting people, always on the phone.
Yeah.
What you up to tonight? Let's do something. Let's go for something to eat. As you get older, everybody starts having girlfriends and relationships and started to get married. Michael's married now. He's got a couple of kids, so Michael can't meet up as much. And you think, God, what am I going to do? You can't sit in your company for 5 minutes and be in your own head. No, it's swing the other way. I probably enjoy my own company too much. But it's just about finding your own voice and doing what makes you happy, and your pals will always be there. I was speaking to Michael, social distance chat soon, but you're always worried. I think it's just a part of growing.
Yeah.
And I know I've repeated myself, but it's just about finding your own voice. But I had that as well, mate. A feeling of like, I need to do something. I really need to do something. You're chasing something. There's a hole. There's a hole there in your heart, and you're just trying to fill it with stuff.
It's so true.
You try and fill it with food, drugs, drink, or trying to make people laugh all the time or something. Mm-hmm. But then when you find your voice and your own comfort, you don't really need to do that anymore. You start to think, wait a minute, I might be self-harming myself with food and drink and jumping out windies at parties so people can laugh at me.
Oh man, taking this off, man.
I know, mate.
My head was itching the whole way.
Do you know,
I
feel I think we've been doing it for like 50 minutes. I feel like it went on too long for me to say, can you take that off?
No, I want to tell you why I'm winning this costume. Like, see, because I'd said to people that I was going to wear a Scooby-Doo onesie, right?
Right.
And I'll tell you why with that. But the reason why I'm wearing this is because I've seen it in my Facebook memories where I'm like, I've got this on it and I'm going like that, and I'm steaming and I'm going out to a party and I'm like a half bottle in or something, and I'm looking at myself and I'm going, what was I doing? And then as I'm saying this to you right now, I'm thinking, well, I'm sitting still in the costume years later, so what am I doing now? But the Scooby-Doo thing, right? Because I went into a pal for school the other day, and I told him I was going to wear it and why I was going to wear it. I couldn't find the Scooby-Doo onesie, right? But when I was in the height of like just wanting to kind of fit into the sort of school and all that and make pals and stuff, because like you say, it was kind of like a thing where I was looking for acceptance a lot. You know what I mean? You're looking for just people to say that they like you for who you are, and what you end up doing really is sort of like adjusting yourself to fit what they want more, and then when they don't even like that, you're still left being like, why does nobody want to hang out with me?
Yeah.
And even though people you're thinking that in your head because you're harshing yourself, but people do and you're thinking,
Yeah.
you're just kind of been harshing yourself like you said earlier. But there was this big party when we were in, I think I was 17 or something, and everybody, I swear to God, mate, this empty, right? Everybody in Bishopric, everybody I have ever seen in my life was at this party, man. It was unbelievable the amount of people that were there. Because, you know, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but people that were at my school and that will know exactly what I'm talking about. This guy had an empty and everyone just turned up. And people just turned up to be ruin his house, man. It was a shame. It was terrible what was happening. But I was like, what can I do that's going to be funny here and make me fit into the crowd, right? So my thought was like, I'm not going to get in the house in the chair because the stairs are. I'm going to have to crawl upstairs, which is something I did on a regular basis, which is mad to think. That's why my knees are now currently gubbed and my five-a-side career is over. Because I used to play in goals on my knees, if anybody doesn't know. But we get up these stairs. I thought to myself, like, right, I'm going to be crawling about a house with like loads of people in it and thinking like, how can I fit my costume into thinking them. So I thought Scooby-Doo onesie, I'm going to be crawling about the floor. So people might, this is legitimately my thought process was, people might think that I'm just committed to the act of the costume by crawling about the floor as Scooby-Doo. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just.
Oh, because it's a dog.
So I'm thinking like, cause it's a dog, they'll think, oh, he's just crawling about cause it's a dog costume, not because he can't walk. Do you know what I mean?
That's a proper method actor.
Mate, that's genuinely what my thought process was, and like people would come up to me and be like, because people that were there I didn't know, and there was just hanging random people there, and they were like, oh, that's funny, you're crawling about, you know, with the Scooby-Doo costume, and I was like, aye, that's exactly why I'm wearing it, so you think that's why I'm wearing it. So we get into this house now, right, and like I come in, but before I got there, I tanned some stuff, so I'm already quite tipsy, and the whole time I'm there, I'm just trying to get as drunk as possible, and then like an hour or two into it, because there's so many people, it's just turning a riot. The police turned up quite quickly. This is the point where I'm hoping my mum's not watching this. But the police turned up pretty quickly, and as everyone's scrambling to get the house and that, obviously because we're all underage, I then crawl to jump on the couch. Now the police come in and they're like, get up and get out, and you're sitting there and you're like, well, and I'm thinking to myself, no, they'll know that I need the wheelchair because my wheelchair's sitting at the side, so they'll know that I need it. But then he comes in and goes, Sam, get out, and I'm like, and then I go on my knees to call it, and he's like, stop tearing there, Vicky, fucking get up and get out. And I'm like, mate, I can't, what? Like, so, but it turns out, I didn't know this, right, but somebody's out of the front of the house in my wheelchair, driving it about.
Wow.
So the police come in thinking that I'm not the guy that needs the chair, and that my pal or whoever it is sitting in the chair and needs it. And like they're getting really pissed at me, man. I'm thinking I'm not. But the thing is, right, is it could have also been because I was at my nut and I didn't know what I was saying. But
imagine if they were like, here, whose dog's that?
I don't know what I would have done. But no, so I'm like that. Right, you're going to need to listen to me here. I can't do this, mate. You're asking me to go down the stairs.
Aye.
And honestly, when the guy says, I can't even mind who it was in the chair. But when he stands up, the look on these two post faces are just like, oh my God, we've been telling this guy to get out of the house and he can't even get down the stairs. And it was like, oh man, it was just, I just remember thinking like, when I look back at things, I think that was a pure mad situation I got myself in, because I couldn't believe he actually thought I'd committed to making people think that I could walk so much that the two police guys came in, looked at me, because if you look at me sitting in a seat, you wouldn't think I was needing a chair in. And it never occurred to me until they did that. But looking back on it, actually was quite a good thing, because it made me see that maybe not everybody's seen the chair as well.
No. And plus, the guy's just a human being.
I know,
He's
exactly.
just like, picture it, he's 100 wee guys in it, right? He's in fight or flight. He's probably a wee bit worried. Am I going to get attacked? Is somebody going to throw a bottle at me when I'm not looking? Exactly. He's ran into the house and he's just seen you sitting on the couch. It's like you says, you don't look I hate to say the word disabled, but
I know
you just look like a normal young guy.
Yeah.
So he's just seen you sitting on the couch and he's thought, stop taking a piss and get up.
Because I think he thought, like, he thinks I'm crawling about, because I'm telling him that's why, like, at first I was Steven and I'm saying it, but he thinks I'm crawling about because I'm being a dog and I'm in the Scooby-Doo costume. And I'm thinking, for God's sake, man, like, what, how, what did I do here? Like, I'm thinking that surely there's going to come a point, because in my head I'm thinking, are they going to actually think that they have to pull me out the house? Because if at one point it felt like it was going to turn into that scene for Still Game with Joe, with all, like, when he gave me a drag up the road, mate, and you're like, I need this guy to get in my wheelchair, man, I need to check up the road. But yeah, I got myself into some pretty, see, as I was saying that, it made me think about Michael, because I was thinking about how I became the guy that had the gas in high school a lot, just because people, I think one of the things that made me think about passionate about access and stuff is that I was also sort of, it was made difficult through not being able to get into people's houses and get to the parties or the nightclubs and stuff. And so when it came to like actually wanting to be in with the group and stuff like that, you had to be the guy having the party.
Yeah.
And so, which was a nightmare for my mum and dad, of course. But I had so many times that I had house parties. But I was just thinking about the time Michael had one, and I was thinking, were you there? Were you there when Michael had that? I think it was for his 18th or something.
I can't remember, mate.
Because my mum and dad always, every time I had a party, they would always say it wasn't as bad as when Michael had an 18th year, because it was just riots and stuff, man.
I don't think so. I can't remember any of that. Plus, I don't want to get them into trouble.
Better
watch what I'm saying.
I know, I'm putting them on the spot.
The night we had a movie. Aye, I was in my bed for 9:30 that night. I can't remember, mate. I'm 33, man. That was like 45 years ago.
See, I've got a bad habit in every wee thing, but I remember the parties. There was 2 different occasions, right, where the parties finished, and one of them was I came in. We just had a pure big empty, and I put it on Facebook and all that. I don't know what I was doing, but all these guys that I'd never seen before in my life were turning up in the house and all that, and my mum and dad are God knows where, and I'm thinking to myself, right, what have I done here? But I go to the toilet, come back out, I'm like, this isn't too bad, everything's alright, we're going to be fine. And I come out the toilet, mate, honestly, I come out the toilet, go into the living room, right, and I just see, in the space of like 5 seconds, somebody's sick on the couch, really big sick on the couch, right, and then I see like a police van with lights driving past, and then and then right after I see that, a guy comes in from the kitchen, and with a fire extinguisher, and just sprays it everywhere, mate. And I'm like, what is going on? What are you doing? Just foams everywhere. The house is a riot. And I'm like, right, I think the game's a bogey. Right? Like, I think, like, there's no coming back for this. I'm caught. There's no way I'm going to hide this. So I went to the kitchen, pulled out a big bottle of Maduri, because it was the only thing I could find, opened it and tanned it straight. As I'm tanning it straight in my living room, my brother Christopher walks in, and he's like, what are you doing? Our house is going to get burned down tonight. Don't put this together. And I'm like, mate, it's done. Let's just get drunk and forget about it. It's finished. This house is finished. So it was things like that. Like,
it's like a confession podcast.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Is like I feel like you're the only guy. You're the guy I wanted. Like I can talk to about stuff like that, because you've actually, you're not just. It's great to have you on, because you're like, people know you, and you're well known, and you're Bobby for Scot Squad, and you've done all these great things with your career. But it's also, to me, you're also just like Darren, the guy that helped me through all these things, and you were a part with me, even though you knew Michael and that, you didn't need to do what you did for me, man. Yeah. And so that's not something that I forget about, and I knew that we have similar sort of like personality that way, so it's why I'm able to be honest about those kind of things. But it's not something that I'm not, definitely I'm not necessarily ashamed of it. I'm just more like that, because I kind of look at it like, if none of that had happened, I don't know if I'd be here the way I am just now. Yeah. So like, even though we had these moments of shame, it's like, if you don't go through these things, you're not going to come out the other end to be who it is you want to be, and be comfortable. You're quite comfortable with who you are now, and you feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And so did I. And it's like, would that have happened if I didn't feel those lows? And I think big part of the problem is that we try and pretend that those lows and those difficult things aren't there. But the problem is, right, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be.
Yeah.
Nobody you've ever met in your whole life has ever said to you, "My life has been pitch perfect for the word go," and nothing's ever happened that I've never liked, not liked or something like that. So it's like, we don't accept the fact that it's not if bad things are going to happen to you. Bad things will happen to you. It's just a matter of how you are going to deal with it, and then actually putting the support out there for people.
Yeah, I love that. It's not. It's just how you handle it.
Yeah.
I love how you said that everybody's not normal as well. And I've realised that through acting, because it's very cutthroat, and then you become hypersensitive to your appearance and stuff. And it's I fully admit that I've had a problem with self-image. Not recently, not for a couple of years, but since I've been 5, I've always felt too ugly, too fat. I remember when I've got a birthmark in my finger as well. See, when you're young and you're in primary school, you think, oh my god, am I Quasimodo? But, like, I had massive NHS glasses as well. But your whole life you think, I'm too fat. Or, you know how you were saying, because you're in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
Do you think, like at a party, do you think, am I going to be the only person that's in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
But when I went into a room, I thought, am I going to be the fattest person in this room? Who else is fat? See, when I walked into a room and I seen another fat person, I thought, fucking yes, man. I'm no the only fat person here. And then you just build it up, and as days go by, it gets worse and worse. But I'm happy with how I look. I like having a birthmark in my finger. I've got a weird chipped fat lip as well. I fell off a bike when I was a wee guy, and it proper fucked my mouth up. But now I like that wee kinda. I'm like, do you know what? Elvis had a fat lip. Queen Phoenix has got a fat lip.
Exactly.
I quite like having a wee fat lip. And then at the start of lockdown, I had stress. No stress, but see, just because a lockdown was happening, I felt stress, right? And I noticed that my hair was falling out. I wasn't going bald, but it was like alopecia, chunks of hair falling out, and I was devastated. See, when you're losing your hair, and I thought, fuck, is that my manhood? You actually question your manhood.
Yeah.
And then I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to let something so stupid as... I wasn't even going bald, it was thinning. And I just done that, shave it off. And see, shaving my hair off, mate, it's given me such a confidence boost. Like, growing the beard, getting a shaved head, I actually feel, like, cool. And
It looks cool, mate. It does look cool. Cool.
Well, thank you very much. But I just realised, like, life is too short to be worried about your fucking hair, or if you feel like you're too fat. Like, I don't care if I'm fat. I care if I'm healthy. And I feel healthy. I feel the healthiest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. And it comes back to this sort of like body image thing.
Yeah.
Of what the media put out there, and how, you know, for me, it was, I wanted to be, I had all these mad thoughts, like, I want to be a wrestler, I want to be in WWE, I want to be, you know, I used to write to be a WWE wrestler, but you would never see anybody on the telly. Do you know what I mean? You would never see anyone in the, or like, so it was just, this whole idea that we have of you have to be a certain way to feel good isn't true, because you could look like Arnold Schwarzenegger and still feel miserable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really, like, nothing you get. I know plenty of people that can walk that are miserable. So
that's true.
So when you're younger, like, they sort of dangle this carrot in front of you, like, once you get skinny, you'll be happy. Once you can walk, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
But then that's why you hear all these famous people that do all that achieve all their dreams and do all these things, and then they end up dying by suicide. You know, like Robin Williams and all that. Look at Robin Williams, and he was like, everything about him, like, he had achieved what you'd want to achieve in your life, pretty much. And like, if you would have thought of a scenario like him, Gary Speed, he was a Welsh manager at the time.
Yeah. I think like we build these. I'm just going to check the time, mate. I'm not being rude.
Yeah.
I think we've done this just to let you know. It's 7:20. So I think we've been doing it since 6. That's an hour and 20 minutes. I'm happy to keep talking. Mate, don't be daft.
I didn't even realise that.
But I see that. I mean, the sad thing about Robin Williams is he was sick. I can't remember what he had.
It was I think maybe something like dementia or something like that.
Yeah,
something.
It was such a rare form of dementia. He couldn't get it diagnosed, and I think it was causing him a lot of pain. So I don't want to bastardize it, but I don't think it was depression that made him
I
kill
just
himself.
I just mean the sense of like, they put these goals in front of you, and they say if you reach these goals, you'll be happy for it.
Yeah,
and it's not true, because if you're hating yourself and who you are the whole way through trying to become something else, and then you get to become that something else, most of the time when you become something else, you're still going to feel the same way you felt about yourself before.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean?
Plus, I've been that. I thought, do you know what? See, when I was 21, I was 18 stone, I think.
Yeah.
And my brother was getting married. And I thought, for my brother's wedding, I'm going to lose weight. And it was the first time in my life that I ever lost weight. I went from 18 stone to 12.5 stone. Now, 18 years of my life, I thought, I'm depressed because I'm fat.
Mm-hmm.
If I lose this weight, I will not be depressed anymore. See, when I got myself down to 12.5 stone and I was at my brother's wedding, it was worse. Too young and too immature to realise that there was something else. I didn't know what the word depression meant, but it brings me comfort knowing that it's nothing to do with that, really. Do you know what I mean?
It's all in your head.
Aye.
How you see it.
Aye.
And that's what you're trying to change with these kind of conversations, because like what you just said there, I got into the gym once I came back from that holiday that I spoke about before. My pals came back for there, had like sort of a epiphany that I had to change something. And when I got into the gym and I got myself into shape and feeling good and feeling positive, there was this thing of like when I was in school, because I wasn't really in about the social groups and stuff, I didn't do very well with the ladies, so to speak, right? And so I came out of high school with this really strong want to have a girlfriend and have a relationship and not feel like I was ever going to be normal until I had a girlfriend and was in a relationship. And then I got it, and
it just shite.
Mate, it's just not what you like. You just think you're going to feel this is brilliant, and it was. And don't get me wrong, it's nothing to do with that person, right? Who other people are, like any relationship you've been in, there's always good points and stuff. But like, I just knew that I was only really in them for them to make me feel good about myself, and not for the fact that I wanted to be with them. Do you know what I mean? It was like I just always needed somebody there, and I've held on to things with people in relationships and stuff just because it's like you if you get rid of them, you're going to be alone.
Yeah,
and that's not something I would have to deal with.
I think it's called codependent.
Yeah, and I definitely was. Were you? Did you feel anything like that in terms of relationships and stuff? Like, how was that? Because you went through like a big giant kind of transition in your life through all these different things, right? So, what was it like trying to have a relationship with somebody through these different sort of times in your life?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I avoided it.
Aye.
I was the same as you. I was in high school, and you're 9 stone bigger than everybody else, and you just don't know how to look after yourself. You've never been taught about nutrition and diet or to look after yourself. So I had a big stupid fringe down past my eyebrows, a pair of glasses that were digging into the side of my head. I looked like fucking Peter Griffin, man. And I felt like I never had the confidence. I was always self-conscious, so I just thought I'll avoid a relationship. I think it was a mixture of, even if someone was interested in me, I just avoided it because I was worried or scared or whatever. It wasn't until I got a wee bit older, then I realised. Then I got the confidence through doing stand-up comedy and stuff. Then you just become a grown-up. But I still have my insecurities, and I've had girlfriends since, and I've been in relationships, and fortunate enough to be pals with them still, and
I can't really say the same.
hi. And I'm kind of seeing somebody right now. I mean, it's no like a serious relationship yet, but
I thought that's what this was. Are we not?
well, if you letted me finish my sentence, I was going to say the person I'm seeing is you.
That's why I've dressed up for you, mate. You say stuff like that.
I love it. No, but what else do you want to talk about? Because I always feel like I get shoehorned into the sad.
Fucking come on.
I'm Bobby.
No, like, well, let's talk about.
Wait a minute. How long are we allowed in this building for?
I don't know, mate. How long have we been going for?
Well, we've been going for it's 1 hour and 26 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it on? Nice, mate. That's pure fluent, isn't it? Well,
aye.
We are able to stay in for like another half hour or something if you want, but you know, basically, pretty much, the person who's up this is, which is, do you know what? This is terrible because I can never pronounce her name right in my life, but I want to say Parisa, and I'm just going to call her Pacha because that's what the game name is, right? But
Pacha. That's
but she's
nice.
honestly, like we can. This is her place, and what she does is aesthetics, like lip fillers and teeth whitening and stuff. And it was really interesting because I was looking for a studio, and then we came down. Like I'm wanting to well, no, not wanting, but I'm going to Tesco one night, and I'm going to Tesco one night, and she's just parked my car, man, and like we just got talking because I know her because she's like basically I knew her through a boyfriend. Well, she just knew who she was through that, but I knew that she did all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going through down to Tesco, and she's just there. And she's talking to me about the podcast. I'm talking to her about the podcast. I happened to mention the fact that I was looking for somewhere, and she was saying to me that she's really passionate about mental health and all these things, and really likes what I was doing, and said I could come by and use it. And I thought it was like it's just one of the kindest things anyone's ever done for me.
That's lovely.
And so this, if you're going to get like any of that kind of stuff done, she's the person to get, because she's doing it for the right reasons. A lot of people are doing things like this for the wrong reasons, and she's doing it for the right reasons.
A lot of things fall into your pace as well when you don't think. I mean, you just went to the shops one night and you literally bumped into her, and now look what's happening.
Honestly, this is why I'm telling you. I genuinely think that when you put something out there in your mind, like see before I swear to God, mate, I'm not making this is true. That night I went to Tesco. I was either going to go down to my house, I got to Tesco, and my head went, I'm going to just go up to Tesco. I didn't even know what I was going to Tesco to get, really. I just thought I'm just going to go to Tesco. Like, so it's like, I just feel like everything that's happened. Mate, honestly, it's like, do you know what that's like? That's like that video of you putting the cone on the person's head. What?
I'm just going to Tesco. I don't even know why I'm going to Tesco. I'm just going to go.
Mate, I just was like, no, but honestly, I was like, I knew there was like food in that I wanted to eat, but I was just like, I didn't need to go. I just didn't need to go. I knew there was stuff there, but I just thought I'd go. And like, that just made me think of it. What was that all about? See the thing when you put the cone on the person's head? What was that all about when you did the video with like, oh, mate, see when you went like that, get up, you Mrs. Daly, that was the funniest thing I've heard in my life, that video. How did that all come about? I've always wondered about that, actually.
It was just a short video for the BBC social.
Did you come up with it? Was it your idea?
No, it wasn't my idea. It was a director called Connor Riley.
Alright.
And he had the premise, and I mean, I improv'd a lot of it, like the Mrs. Daly stuff, and
so funny, man.
all that kind of stuff was a lot of it was improv'd, but it was their idea. It's like Scot Squad, it's their idea, but I improv'd my stuff.
Because it was one of the funniest things, honestly.
Cheers, mate.
But the point is, right, it's not so much like feeling like I'm gonna go to, but because I didn't go to Tesco thinking I was going to meet somebody that was going to give me a studio. Mate, that's not the point.
Yeah.
That's mental, right? The point is that everything that's happened with the podcast, right, has been very much by chance, very much like I can't believe it happened. Even like one of the guests I had, Mike Kerr, I had an interview with him like 2 years before for college, and I wanted to get in touch with him when we decided that I was going to do this podcast as part of the Football for All project. And then I couldn't find him anywhere. It was off social media written and all that. And then I met somebody at Tesco, the same Tesco. He went.
What is it with you and Tesco?
Mate, I swear to God, this is true, right? I went to Tesco, and as I'm behind this guy in the queue, and he's going to pay for something, but his car's not working or something like that. He can't pay for it, and I'm like, I'll pay for it, and he's like, no. So he ends up able to pay for it, but he just remembers the fact that I said I'll pay for it. So he comes out and he's like, here, thanks for that, and we start talking, and then next thing I know, he invites me to like his house. This was when lockdown was eased, so calmed down everybody, but we're all at the back, and there's like me and his pal basically, and we're talking, and I started talking about the podcast, and I started talking about Mike and wanting him on, and then he goes, you talking about Mike here? And I'm like, what? Aye? And he's like, Mike Kerr, my dad is pals with him, and he has his number. And I'm like, you're joking?
That is mental.
And so, see now when I say that, like, this was only going to be like a 10-week thing, and I can't ever imagine not doing it now.
That is mental, mate.
Like it just feels like what I'm supposed to be doing. Do you know what I mean? And I had an 18-year-old, like, last year messaged me the other day, and she was like, I really found it really comforting. You talking about mental health, and it really helped with X, Y, Z, and how you were talking about things that people don't usually talk about. And I'm thinking, surely there's like a billion podcasts out there. Surely somebody's talking about the things I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean?
Like, it doesn't matter. There's a billion TV shows. There's a billion books.
But my point is that when you hear things like that and things like that happen, you just sort of feel. I'm not like a religious person or anything, overly, but I just felt as if I was doing something that not only made me feel great, but made others feel good, and it made me feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to have you on for ages, but like I said to you before, I wanted to do it where we could do it exactly how we've done it. This has went exactly the way I would have wanted it to go, you know.
Maybe the third time you go to Tesco.
Hopefully I see you.
Imagine you get hit with a van or something.
No. But I mean, like, at least if I get hit by a van, it's not like I'm not going to be able to walk after it. I'll be fine.
No, mate, like I told you, I've been telling you for months that I'd come on. I'm happy to come on anytime you want, and I've enjoyed it.
Honestly, there's like a million different things we could talk about and a million different stories, but I can't. I can imagine doing this with you a few times, and it's always like this. What it's felt this. Because I was quite worried about going live, right? Because I'm thinking, you always have the chance to edit stuff out if you make a mistake or anything like that. If you say something stupid, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to put a foot in my mouth here or something. Or, you know, what am I going to say? No doubt I've said things that my mum and dad are sitting watching and being like, why has he just said that about our house? But hopefully people found it funny. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully it was a good laugh for them, and that's what it's all about. And also just having like an actual honest conversation with somebody that I really was, you know, like, have a lot of respect for you, man. But by the way, before we finish, this is something that I should have mentioned earlier, right? Military fitness.
Yes.
It's something I wanted to talk to you about. Because Matt is like one of the best guys I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
But see, that gym, there's another gym I go to, Everyday Athlete, which is like, they've changed my life and been so amazing to me. John and Tommy and all the people there. Actually, in the normal world, I would have been a Halloween party at Everyday Athlete gym tonight, which is why I thought I would do this in the hope that some of them would maybe want to tune in and get a laugh out of it. But with Matt, what it was, I was coming down, honestly, talk about things by chance, mate. I put it all on the post, but I'm coming home from somewhere where I didn't even need to be out that night.
Were you going to Tesco? Fuck's
I
sake.
wasn't. Mate,
Right.
I wasn't going to Tesco, right? But I was going out, and I was going out, and when I was out, I didn't have to go down the route that I went. I could have went a different route, but I went the pure long route because I thought it was safer for the chair. And as I'm going down this long route, this guy, is in his car, and he turns in just outside where that gym is, and I kind of went in front of him, and I thought I'd cut him off, or I thought because I had my headphones on, I wasn't. He never said it and didn't it, but I just felt as if I'd been quite rude to the guy there. And so when he goes in the parks, there's like a moment I'm sitting there, I'm going, part of me wants to just go and say to the guy, hey, sorry that if I got in your way there, what's the point, just leave. But my head went, look, what I'm about is, like, I don't want that moment to have upset him. If it has, even if it hasn't, it's like, no bother, and you go away, that's it.
Yeah.
All it takes 2 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't know. I just like, because a lot of the wee things that made me feel terrible were just that wee things that nobody really knew. Nobody would think that they were bad things. You know what I mean? So it was like every wee thing made every big thing worse. So I went to the guy and I just went, hey Matt, sorry that he tells me his name obviously, but I'm like, hey, sorry if I got in your way there, and he goes, no, not at all, mate, not at all. I've seen you for years, what, past year and stuff. Do you go to the gym for that? And I'm like, yeah, I love going to the gym. And he's like, I own that gym right there. You should come by tomorrow. We talk about it, and I come by tomorrow and train with him, and it was amazing. And he was just like, I'm going to help you with this and this and this, and do all these things for me. And the guy refuses to just like take anything from me. For it. It's honestly amazing. And then like a week later, like a couple of weeks later, the first time I see you in ages was in the gym. I was like, what? How you doing?
Yeah.
You were doing one of the classes.
Yeah.
And you commented on it. You commented on the post saying that you knew Matt and all that. And I didn't know that you, like, I knew that you'd been going to a gym. I didn't realise it was close to my house, is that?
Yeah.
So how did you meet Matt? How did that all come about? That gym? Like,
honestly, it was the same again, mate. Like, years ago, I was too self-conscious to go in, and I was always walking past this gym, and I was like, what is that, man? Military fitness. And I went in one day, so self-conscious, and Matt has a pal. I can't remember the guy's name, but Matt was taking a class at the time, and the guy said, come in and have a chat, and I was like, look, mate, can I just open and honest with you? Like, I'm really self-conscious about being fat. I think I might be too fat for this circuit training.
yeah.
So stupid. See, when you think about what you used to say,
Yeah.
you know, but the guy was so kind and understanding. I think he was in the army as well. Built like a brick shit house. And he's like, pal, don't worry about it. He's like, just come, try, do what you can. I don't go to Matt's class all the time because I'm a self-employed comedian. I'm always working, or the COVID has restricted the gym and stuff. But anytime I drop in, I always have a great chat with him. It's always a good workout, and I love it. He's a great guy.
Honestly, it's just like you say, it's so. Like, I mean, there's two. It's crazy because he's such a nice, but he loves pushing you. He loves.
Yeah.
And what I liked about him was he showed me that kind of respect right away. I've been like, he didn't question if I couldn't do something. He just assumed I could do everything. Yeah. And let me just do it. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, and I swear to God, mate, I was like going down this, like the past few days before that happened. I thought, I need somebody that's going to keep me in check sometimes. Like, I'm down with the fitness thing, and I really want to make it. You know, in the past wee while, I've been making sure that, like, during lockdown, I went through phases where I was doing really well and I wasn't. But what I'm trying to say is that I wanted to get the consistency. I wanted to, whenever somebody, I almost feel like I care more about what other people think, how other people are feeling than I do myself. Yeah. So when somebody's holding me accountable and saying, if you don't come in today, it will make me feel this way. It makes you go, I need to go in then. Yeah. And he's great that way. With that said, I did miss his class this morning. But it was
aye, fuck him. Let's just go to Tesco. Get a meal deal.
Get a meal deal, mate, some wraps and that. No, but listen, this has been amazing, and I really appreciate you coming on and doing this with me, man. It's
No,
been a
mate.
great time.
I loved it. I'll just check a few things, right? That's 20 to 8 now. So, it's 20 to 8.
That's a bit.
I need to be in my bed for 8.
Back in 9, like a cup of tea and that shit. No, but
Matt, here, how horrible would it be if it was the recording?
honestly, see if it's not recording that, I would cry myself to sleep at night, honestly.
A bit too intense. Maybe
Honestly,
we
mate,
could just do it again.
Honestly, mate, I would honestly, because it's like, see the amount of effort that's been put into set this up
Yeah.
and do all this the past few weeks and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's been stressful. This just feels like a relief to be sitting here talking to you and finally doing it.
No.
And I'm doing it all just, I just hope that somebody watched it and had a laugh or watched it and was helped in some way.
No.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it's not about money or anything like that. It's just about trying to help people. And I probably should mention the fact that these microphones and all that are from the sponsor. And Kale Financial, who Chris Adams is a big part of that, and he's also again a wheelchair that I've known for years.
Yeah, I know Chris. Aye.
And he's great, and he listened to the first podcast, and hope he's watching this now. But and he was talking to me about it, and he thought I was onto something, and he's helped me get guests on and stuff. And he said, I want to sponsor this, and I don't want to take on a sponsor or sponsorship from anything that doesn't fit in with what I'm not like. You're not going to sit here like me sitting like promote like some like the KKK or something like that for £1,000, you know, £1,000 or something. Like, you don't. It needs to fit into like what the podcast is about, and he and the company Kyle Financial, they really do actually care about people.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And this isn't like an ad or anything, but they are helping you, and I'm just letting you know that I'm the same way you talked about like being vegan and that. You're not like, I'm just saying it because they are good people and they deserve your support.
Yeah.
So they've got great deals on, and they're always helping people, and they've always got like amazing reviews and stuff. So I knew that Chris's heart was in the right place because I've known him for years and I know what they're trying to do. So I was more than happy for them to sponsor it, and then I ended up with a studio and some good equipment and some great guests, and here we are.
Brilliant, mate. Well, good things happen to good people.
Exactly, mate.
So why is it happening to you?
And that is a wrap.
No, mate, I'm proud of you, and I hope you keep going because it's a great show, and I'll come on anytime. I want to give a shout out to your football chums and all. Who was your mate you says was a Scot Squad fan?
It's Thomas McMahon.
Thomas McMahon, so all the best, Thomas. And just, I'll come on anytime you need me, mate.
I really appreciate that, and I'm sure we'll be doing plenty more of them, mate, honestly. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. No too many though, just like one or two.
But you do charge like 10 grand for each episode, so it's not really...
So do you want me, I'll go and I'll end record?
Okay, mate.
Right, okay.
We'll be back to normal kind of things next Sunday on the 12 o'clock.
Right,
the next
okay.
guest, just so you all know.
Right, I'm going to end stream now, right?
Cool. Catch us later.
And I'm like a grander trying to work